Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, and we're continuing on here and kind of concluding the first wave of deluxes for the Transformers Titans Return line. We're going to look at Skullsmasher, formerly known as Skull Cruncher, and his partner Grax. Apparently, Grax can mask the energy signature of any bot that he's bonded to, so, you know, that's pretty cool. If this guy can be invisible to Autobots, which is surprising, because if you know anything about the original character, he had a penchant for chomping his teeth before chomping his Autobots. So, hey, it's nice that Grax can mask him. He certainly needs it. But I've got to talk about something. I'm starting off a way that I don't usually start off at all. We're going to just take him out of it for a second, and we're going to look at this. It is his collector card, and it's beautiful art. You know, again, it looks like the box. It's great. And we go over here to his tech specs. And I feel like the strength, yeah, that makes sense. It should be high and a little higher with Grax. And his speed gets a huge bump up. Makes sense. His fire blast makes sense. But look at his intelligence. Look at his intelligence. I did not know that Skullsmasher was this smart. Didn't know he was this smart at all. Me very smart. Sure you are, Skullsmasher. Me brains behind whole Decepticon operation. Yeah. You're the brains behind the entire operation. I don't doubt that for a second. Well, you know what, Skullsmasher? I don't know how smart you actually are, but we're going to take a look at how good your figure turned out in the latest GotBot True Review. Okay folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, check me out everywhere. Check out Machinery Man and the Everything Factor. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And we're going to move right into this guy and his paint apps. If we're comparing him to the toy, hey, this guy is a 10. He is fantastic. If we're comparing him to the animation, you know, I just went back yesterday and rewatched the Rebirth episodes. And I was all set to give this guy like a 9.75. I really was. He was pretty much perfect. I don't know, but I would have given him a 10. Now I'm going to give him about an 8.5. Because he shouldn't have green kneecaps. They should be pink. He shouldn't have green in his abdomen. It should be the same kind of, I guess it's a gray, a very light off-white gray color as his legs and his chest. Am I going to bother painting that? I don't think I'm going to bother painting either of those. The pink is a very kind of hot pink, vibrant. And you know what? If you didn't think pink was cool before, if an alligator can wear it, it's cool. I kind of like the green breaking up the chest and the pelvis and the thigh, so I'm going to leave that. And the pink should really come more up the body. Believe it or not, even though he's an alligator, there's too much green on him. Again, I don't think I want to bother trying to match the pink, but I did paint the black eyes and put a red visor on him. I'll show that up close in just a little bit. So, 8.5. Posability, playability for this guy. Well, I need to show something first, because you know me, I like to start showing these guys the way that they come out of package. And this guy isn't exactly as he comes out of package. Out of package, of course, this piece is off, and this piece, his blaster's off, his tail's off, and his head is not attached. Fresh out of package, and his toes are up. Fresh out of package. There's a lot kind of not right with this guy, fresh out of package. So you open him up, and on the package for this guy, I think that this is fantastic. It says, adult assembly required. It's putting an alligator head on a ball joint, folks. That's all. There's a little hole in here where the ball joint goes. And I love that the mouth, if I can do it now, maybe I'll have to wait till he's attached. No, there you go. I love that the mouth can open and close. That's fantastic. The detail on the teeth is impeccable. He has a tongue. It'd be nice if it was painted, but he's a robot, so I'm kind of cool with his tongue being this color. But basically, all you have is like this at a package. And there's a ball post here, and you just take the head and you put it on. I'm going to tell you something now. Honestly, I don't know why that is adult assembly required. The scraplets have put ball pegs on. It's a ball peg. It's not that hard. Just saying. I also knew his feet didn't look right, so I flipped out his toes to get those down. His blaster can go in his hand over here. It can go up in a peg hole on his shoulder. It can even go stored back here in a peg hole, on his back. It obviously gives him a bigger backpack. So if you're cool with that, you can always put it back there. And then we come to his tail. Now, his tail is peculiar. That's what we'll say. His tail's peculiar. Now, I think we all know and have seen that there's a peg on the inside, and it can go in his hand. Like this, and he holds it as like a melee weapon, a shield, I'm not sure. There's also, oddly, a peg on the back. And this peg on the back, I suppose you can, again, put it in his hand like this. You can put Grax in here. You can mount his gun up here in a little port, which I guess we might as well do that just to show it. You could put Grax in here, if we take Grax off and open him out, we can see Grax in there like that, and he could do that, which looks ridiculous. I'm thinking though that the point of having that, is twofold, to be honest with you. I think that it's meant to serve as a peg that can also go in his shoulder for storage. It could go back here for storage, giving him an enormous backpack and making him very top heavy, and he doesn't really want to stand up. I also think that it could be used to go down in a port on Metroplex or Fortress Maximus. Of course, so could this one. There's a little hole in the bottom of this peg that would fit over, one of those little stands that we put Titan Masters on to stand them up. That little hole as well could be used for storage, but I don't think it works particularly well. We need to take the gun out, and the gun goes in quite solid. On his arm, there's a little peg right here that this fits on over. And it's pretty, it's not that it's hard to do, it's that I can't really see doing it on camera. There, you might be able to see, it's up here. And that's fine, that it stores, looks okay, it'll look good on the shelf, but it takes away his elbow really, because it kind of comes in over a bit too much, and you got his claws sort of down a bit more than they should be. It's okay. I don't think it's the best storage option. So what is the best storage option? I think this is the best storage option. You put his claws back up, and you have 4 claws here, and you have holes going down the side. Stand up. You have holes going down the side and holes going down the side. If you position this correctly, and I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't take a little bit of finesse and work to get it on. Again, it's just easier if I can see it myself up close. There. If you position it correctly, you can get a claw out here and a claw out here, and that stays on pretty good, and he still has his elbow bend. Again, there's kind of nothing great you can do. There's kind of nothing great you can do with the weapon storage, but it is what it is. Posability, well, the head can go all the way around, pretty good. The arms, they go all the way around, and they can go all the way out, and there's a nice 90-degree bend. There's a bicep swivel way up here, but then because of transformation, there's also another lower swivel on the forearm. So you have 2 swivels in the arms. The wrist can go in and out like this. I don't know if that works for you. The legs, they can go way out to the side. Those ball joints are a little loose. You can see I shake them, they kind of come down. They're a little bit loose. Actually, I'm not sure if it's the ball joints or if it's the thigh swivel. The thigh swivel is great. It's not going to come off the mushroom peg or anything. It's not that loose, but it does turn very easily. Nice 90-degree knee bend. Now, there's also been a lot of debate about this guy's knees. When I got him in a package, here's the other thing, and I didn't mention this. His knees were like this, and I bent them, and I could bend them all the way up. That's deeper than 90 degrees. And this one, I could do the same with, bend it all the way up, but this is, look how loose that is. It's because his knees actually, if you listen, his knees are supposed to lock in. You lose, I guess, a little bit of articulation, but come on, the guy still gets a nice 90-degree knee bend. Overall, posability, playability for this guy, I'm going to give it, again, an 8.5 because of the fact that those thighs are, or I'm not sure if it's thighs or it's hips, are a little bit, not perfect, just a little bit not perfect, and of course, that tail does not store well at all, in my personal opinion. Still, the guy's getting an 8.5 so far as his score. Let's go into his transformation. Actually, before we do that, let's take him off screen and we're going to look closer at his head. Let's see if I can bring this in to show it well. There's his head. Like I said, I painted the visor. He had black eyes and it was not a visor. I just took a bit of red and painted that. I love the gold on this over the more like muted gold, yellowy that's on the Takara one. And I like this head sculpt. And of course he opens up and Grax has a head sculpt. He opens up and Grax has a head sculpt really like his. So I left Grax's because that works. He is not pinned on the hips. He's not pinned on the hips. I don't get that. Again, this guy's like a 2 or 3. I mean, you know, it's okay. It's all right. Same articulation with the little arms on ball joints that go in and out, and he bends at the waist and the knees bend, and so he can sit down, and that's about it. So we're just going to take that off, and I said we were going to go into transformation, but really quickly before we do that, let's just bring him back in. We'll stand him up. And we're going to just put him side by side with his wave mate of Scourge. And he's a bit bigger than Scourge. He's a fair sized Deluxe. And just for something more familiar to everybody, here he is with our good old buddy Off-Road. And I mean, he scales really, really well. He's imposing, he's big, he's bulky. Dig him. Dig him for that. Okay, transformation for this guy. Let's get into it. First, of course, you take the head off. We already know that. You flip in the wrist and flip in the wrist, or flip in the fist, I guess. You bring the claws down. So far, so good. Pretty easy so far. Now comes the hard part. You have to take these shoulder pieces and you're going to bring them all the way up and all the way up. Now, when you do that, and a lot of people have said this incorrectly, a lot of people, The head needs to come down over, and there's a peg here on the head and a peg here on the head. And a lot of people said that they slot into these circular openings here. That's not what they do. There are little slots, little slats, slits, whatever you want to call them, below those circular pegs. And this head pegs into that. The problem is, these shoulders need to be in the perfect right position to get that in, and you need to push hard. Why is that a problem? Well, it's a problem because all of this is hard plastic, and honestly, it kind of hurts the fingers. Now, that being said, if you leave him like this and you angle out, you know, obviously you see his front paws, I suppose, are down. If you turn the bicep swivel so that the elbow joint is facing out, and turn the elbow joint and turn the forearm swivel, you get that. Turn the bicep, turn the elbow joint, turn the forearm swivel. I mean, you get that. And even if you don't peg the head in, you still have the left motion, the right motion, the, you know, opening jaw. You still have all that, and it still looks okay. You could even straighten this down, and you just noticed what happened here. Remember I said the ball joints? This one likes to come off. Now, it doesn't tend to readily fall off unless I push on it. It's not like RID Starscream loose. Anyway, if you just left it like that, I think you'd be fine. But we're gonna try and not do that. Before you go to peg the head in though, open this flap up, do yourself a favor, open the flap up on the back. This is hard, rubbery plastic, and you will push down inside here, right where you have to put the Titan Master partner, and if you push down there, I'm going to tell you now, it's a pain to get it back out. So fold that back, and we're going to try and peg in this head and see how this goes. I must have had him positioned perfect there. Earlier this morning, I was I was in the living room with Starscream Girlfriend and the Scraplets, fiddling with this guy, and his head did not want to go in. I was sitting there a good 20 minutes. Next you come to, since that did go in though, that's great. Next you want to come to the legs. And when you bend these up, you really want to, well, first you want to detach the tab from the knee. And really hold on to the knee is the easiest way to do this. Hold on to the knee and fold the leg around. Put the toe in. Keep holding on to the knee and fold the leg around so that in the end you get the back sticking out here like this. And do the same thing on the other side. Put in the toe, hold on to the knee, put the back around. Make sure that you got the leg, just like kind of with Combiner Wars, make sure you got the thigh and the knee like positioned correctly inside. It's not that hard. And then you can peg these two pieces together for the body of the Gator mode. And we are almost done. You come to the sides and you just unpeg the hind leg. Just unpeg the hind leg. You can't, or you can leave them pegged in. It's up to you really, because honestly there's not a big pile of movement there. It's hind legs of the Gator. What do you expect? We are just about done. We take the Titan Master partner, we open him up like he's sitting, and we put him down in here, and we just close that up. Did he go down there? Nope, he stood up. Why are you not working with me? There we go. And we just bring this down. Again, don't over push it in. You'll save yourself a lot of hassle if you don't. And last but not least, you take the tailpiece and you take the hand blaster, and there's a hole up here in the tailpiece. I already showed this earlier. You put the hand blaster up into that hole to give his tail just that extra little bit of oomph. And then there's a peg right there and a hole right here on the tail. You put the tail over the peg, and in the end, voila, there you go. You have him in his Gator mode. And this pink, this should continue right on up the back. According to the animation, but I dig this. Come on, it's Skull Cruncher, Skull Smasher. big Scully C, whatever you want to call this guy, and it's Skullsmasher. It is. I already showed the head articulation. The arms, I mean, they can turn a bit. No real back and forth. You can't do this with the elbow, I guess, if you wanted to. These ones, they can go, you know, backward and forward, and I guess in and out ever so slight. The tail does turn. But again, you do it 2 or 3 times and it comes off over that peg. It just, you know, you work it off. It is what it is. It's probably not perfect for the tail. Maybe the peg that it's on should have been slightly longer or something, but I think that would have kind of hurt the scaly aesthetic going back here. Just don't turn the tail too much, or if you pop it off, pop it back on. It's pretty simple. His transformation. It's pretty good. It is pretty good. You got to be careful for those knees. Not a big deal. You know, kids won't have any problem with that. The only thing kids are going to have a problem with is making sure that this head is tabbed in. Pardon me. And that hurts his transformation score a bit. If you don't care about the head really tabbing in perfectly, I mean, you could, you know, just bring it down over, and even if it doesn't tab in, it looks fine. If you're a perfectionist and you want it tabbed in, well, you might do it easily like I did. Luckily, you might have to struggle with it to get those arms right in the right spot. Overall, I'm going to give his transformation still at 8.5. Skullsmasher and his partner Grax, they are at 8.5. A great figure, great entry. It's the first one in the Decepticons for official headmasters. And I think it turned out really good. I really do. I'm digging this line, folks. I don't know if you are, but I know I'm digging this line so far. Look forward to getting more of them. Anyway, overall score, like I said, 8.5. He's great. Check him out. And I guess the only thing left to say is thanks for dropping by. Thanks for giving me a little bit of your valuable time. I do very much appreciate it. And I look forward to the next time that we get together for another visit right here inside the videos.